Hello, this is not a vlog. There I was, moored up in glorious countryside near Braunston, watching the other boats, and all of a sudden this bloke comes past. He's on a special mission, and I thought it was worth a video.
I'm doing a marathon in a kayak, 1,000 kilometres, which equates to 24 marathons back to back with my arms while sat on my bum in order to raise money for cancer research. Most people are affected by cancer in one way or another, but a very good friend of mine who was an ex-girlfriend many years ago died very nastily of pancreatic cancer 3-4 years ago. So I decided to start dedicating these trips to her initially, and on that occasion I paddled from one side of France to the other. Went from Bordeaux to the Mediterranean. It took me 18 days, and that was for Sally. And then since then, basically, it's just for cancer research. There's too many people it affects to kind of dedicate it. So that's what I try and do, 6 weeks of this.
So this is not your first attempt, you are an old hand at this.
Yeah, I've done it for 4 years now. The first year I paddled the length of the Thames. Second year I did the French trip from Bordeaux to the Mediterranean. Last year I was going to try and do the same thing in this country, go from Bristol to King's Lynn, but got to Teddington at the end of the Thames and decided to paddle back up the Thames instead. It seemed like a clever idea at the time. And then this year I decided to double it, so it's gone from like 500 kilometres to 1,000 kilometres in 3 weeks to about 6 or 7 weeks.
And you've clearly got stuff on the kayak with you. That's
Yeah.
what, tent or something? How are you sleeping on?
Basically, this is an inflatable kayak. In the blue bag behind me is my tent, my sleeping bag and everything I need to keep down at night. In the red bag and other bags is just about everything else. And when I come to some of the locks that I can't actually go through, I have to drag this whole thing out, stick it on the wheels and walk it around, which can be a bit of a pain when there's, I think it was 471 locks on my journey. So it's like one every 1.5 miles on average. This is an inflatable, and the reason I use an inflatable is because I'm actually 2/3 blind. I've lost 2/3 of the field of the vision on my left hand side. So when I found this out about 12-15 years ago, I used to have lots of hard kayaks, but it became very apparent that you can't go anywhere in a hard kayak unless you have somebody drive you, because you've got to put it on the roof. So I switched to inflatables so I can pack the whole of this lot down. I'm sitting underneath this proper inflatable seat is a dirty great big wheeled hold-all. All the boat, everything here goes in that. The rucksack goes on my back, and I can get on buses and trains and keep my independence.
So on this journey, what's your sort of ETA for your final destination?
Well, originally it was going to be mid-August, but I stop and talk to people a lot, and people ask me a lot of questions. So I'm looking at sometime between mid and late August now.
Any idea how much money you've raised, either on this one or all the trips combined?
Well, it's worked out to about £1,000 per trip so far, but this year I think the Just Giving page is up to about 700 or 800 quid, and that's mainly people donating through the Just Giving as I go around, and I've collected another 300, I think it is, in cash, which gets transferred into it. So yeah, the biggest one is now producing the most. Nowhere near as much as some people do for their events, but this is kind of like my holiday.